Yay! Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Asma. Good morning, Anna. Yay! I'm so excited you guys are here. I forgot to put up the actual the little thing letting everybody know. I did a community post, but I actually didn't create the live stream until like 5 minutes ago, which was a boo-boo on my part. But yay! I'm so glad you guys are here. All right. Awesome. Well, good morning. It's morning here wherever I am. But yes, it's been a somewhat busy week, I guess. We haven't really seen the Waleses at all because it is, I guess, half term. So I know the next engagement we have for William will not be until November. So Catherine's probably the same. So unfortunately, we will not see them much. But we will we did see some of Harry and Meghan. So that was mostly a Meghan. So that was interesting, of course, because she always seems to take a moment and go, so hey, good morning, Gemini. Good morning, Karen from Scotland. Yeah, I think we're getting a bit of a slower pace because I didn't put the live stream post up until later. So Azama asked, why did Meghan even audition for Deal or No Deal role? Because it's obvious you aren't being hired for your brain and then stay for 74 episodes. That is a great question. Yes. So yeah, I still need to do a full video on that, and I definitely will, but it's just one of those things where it's like a Playboy model being mad that nobody's taking her seriously as an intelligent woman. It's like, well, you were in Playboy. No offense to you, but you do that in part because you are agreeing to a certain extent to be objectified. So I find it incredibly disingenuous that Megan's like, oh, it's like she didn't know Deal or No Deal was about her being eye candy. And she it's like a complete and total shock to her. It's just total shock to her, guys, that she is that, people, I don't know. It's just so crazy to me, everyone. It really is. Because again, if you are in that industry, as a woman especially, it's always like I feel like those actresses too, sometimes who are like, oh, I did not like, I took my clothes off in my first couple role and not that they regret it, but no, they get mad at directors sometimes. Charlize Theron got mad at a director for objectifying her and stuff. I was like, but that's kind of what you sign up for if you're an actress. That is kind of it. It is a rough industry, and one that apparently Megan is in favor of her children entering, possibly, of course. But I have no doubt they'll be in the entertainment industry because now they live in Hollywood. So that was a great question. So hello, Carolina, Kristen, Hayden, hi from Denver, RF. Hey, good morning, Doris from Chicago, Cookie Toots. Hi, all. Sorry I wasn't notified. Hope I haven't missed much. You haven't. I was slow this morning. I actually went out and did social activities last night, which I don't do that often because this channel takes up a lot of my time. And I do kind of live that because I'd love to, maybe go full time someday. So I just do kind of live for the channel. And then I managed to actually get the community post up, but I forgot to come home and put it on, kind of get it all set up here on this end. I use kind of a streaming service called StreamYard to kind of help me manage things. So I totally forgot. So Lucia, good morning from Uruguay. Oh my goodness. So many people from all over the world. Nancy, hi. Evelyn from Sicily. Oh, I'd love to go back to Italy. Been to Italy a couple of times, but it's been too long. It's been way too long. It's so beautiful and a lot of history. Oh, I love history. Azuma, hey. Yes, she's basically slamming other women on the show. Yes, Meghan is no, it doesn't seem like anybody from the show is happy about what she said. And I feel like this blowback from that comment is just kind of continuing to like grow. And that's why last night, we got a picture of Harry and Meghan, a new one from those, series of 3 that we got from that photographer Meghan likes. And another one of her in that red outfit. And Harry just looks like he's not even there. He looks super awkward. And Megan's just grinning so hard. She's starting to grin so hard. Like her forehead vein was popping in that Variety interview. It's like she's trying so hard to be likable. Her forehead vein is popping. So it is what it is. Kimberly M. Hello from Ontario. Hi. Miss Louise from the UK. Juniper from Surrey. Hello. Wow. First time I made it in time for live. T. Rollins. Well, I'm so glad you made it. Um, Good morning. So Edie says she took the job because that's all that she can get. I believe that is right. Didn't require much talent because Megan doesn't have a ton. Uh, she was. I've seen some of her roles. I mean, I have not watched all of Suits, so I need to review it to kind of get the full because that's basically the part she's had the most time in is Suits. So I'd have to actually watch that whole thing to kind of get an idea of what I think about it. But I saw her first scene, I believe it is in the show, because I did it for I think one of my first episodes, and I was not impressed in the slightest. And her character I found obnoxious because she's like, "Don't fall in love with me," and she like showing this guy around. She's like, "You fall in love with me, but don't." And I'm like, that's just I don't know. To me, that's just not I don't I would never say that to anybody. Jenny, good morning from Iowa. Gemini, right? They call them models. Yes. Yes, you would think she would be so excited to be called a model. You would think. You would think. Lucia said, Megan Variety Ridiculous photo shoot reminded me of my Sweet 16. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it was so I did actually a fashion video, the fashion best and worst fashion looks of the week. So if you haven't gone to Royal Fashion News, you really should and check that out. But I didn't put any of Megan's looks on there because just none of them were that interesting. And I feel like she does, and some people have pulled it out, like she does the same poses all the time. Now, granted, to a certain extent, I think as a model that is kind of what happens, but still, it's not she's not the best at modeling. So again, and it's just she's so full of herself anymore. It just comes across, and she's also trying so hard to be likable. It's just all bad. Johanna Taylor from Illinois. Princess Dumbarton job description wears slinky dresses, hold a briefcase, smile, open briefcase. Why was she surprised it wasn't an intellectual job? You would think she would know that, right? You would think it should be so I mean, it's so obvious that's what it is. That's what it is. Like, you shouldn't go to a Playboy shoot and expect to keep your clothes on. Like, that should be obvious. If that's not. And again, it's just, she should have just been grateful to get anything. I did watch an interview with this woman from TMZ. I can't remember her name. She's, I guess, on there quite a bit. She said she was on Deal or No Deal, and she said that one of the girls on there, passed her the bar the first time she took it. So I have no doubt there are intelligent women there, but Megan acting like, it was such this great imposition. Oh, we could not, we weren't not challenged or treated like intellectuals. I was like, well, yeah, everybody knew that. That wasn't the point of the job. That was not the point of the job. And I think somebody said, and I can't verify this, but I would guess this is right, that she was probably frustrated too that she never got mic'd up, because I guess they would kind of allow some of the more outgoing models to kind of interact with some of the contestants. And I don't think Megan was chosen, because I feel like if she was, we would have some sort of video evidence of it somewhere. And also, how would Megan watch Deal or No Deal? Apparently, her and Harry can't find anything to watch, and they just scroll through, which you would think, she said that in the Variety interview, and like they scroll through and they can't find anything. And it's like, I feel like you just threw your own streaming service under the bus here. You just basically said you scroll through it and you can't find anything to watch. So that's kind of funny. Ulrika from Sweden. Hello, good morning. I am hoping to go to Sweden next. I think it'll be the fall, which is kind of the big celebrations for the Jubilee for the King for 50 years. So I am hoping to head out to Sweden. I have not been to Sweden or any kind of upper in Europe, really, except for I think the farthest north I've been is Edinburgh. And so I would love to go out there. Good morning, Carmen. Just happened to catch it live. Yes. Last night, but no notification. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. Again, I did not post. Usually you kind of I say it on the community, and then I do kind of an internal thing to kind of get the thing up, and I forgot to do that. Again, actually trying to be social. Good morning, Deborah. Leonora from Israel. Why? Deborah says, hi, Pippa. I'm so sorry, guys. She is actually not here this morning. She is getting all prettified. She is at the groomers right now. So I had to take her at 8 o'clock this morning. So hopefully she'll be ready before too long here. I'm sure she was rather traumatized to go there so early in the morning. She was still kind of waking up. Um, Princess Dunbar, and she plays Mean Scrabble. Mean Scrabble, yes. Hello from LA, Michelle. Good morning. Thank you for doing this again. Yeah, of course. You guys seem to really like it, so I think it's kind of a great little thing to get to do to start off the morning. So I'm glad I get to do it. So yeah, live for the channel. Love that. Yeah, Daritz, yes. Anna, hello. Gemini. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Like I said, unfortunately, I don't think we'll get Catherine and William for the next week or two here because they are on break with their kids, which I totally understand, but it's also kind of sad because we've seen so much of them. But we'll see them a lot in November because we have the Remembrance Sunday and we also have the state visit from South Africa. So we'll get hopefully maybe Catherine in a different tiara and jewelry. That would be, I'd love to see how they end up dividing things out between the ladies. I think that would be kind of interesting. And if they're become a bit more flexible since Queen E is no longer in the picture. She kind of, I mean, the Brits have a very, very grand tiara collection. I will give them that. Most of their tiaras are quite big. So they've kind of fit the criteria of, the big gun or the one only reserved for the Queen. But I would love to see Catherine have access to more and have Camilla be more flexible with who can wear things. And she may, because she knows to a certain extent still she's probably struggling a bit with popularity. So she may not want to go, oh, let me just wear it, the one that the Queen wore all the time. She may be kind of cautious about that. But I would love to see Catherine and Camilla be able to, and I'd love to see things that are in the vault that we've never seen. Because sometimes what happens too, if a particular queen doesn't like something, she won't wear it. And if she doesn't wear it, we don't see it. And so it'd be interesting because like the Grenville tiara Eugenie wore, I had no clue that even existed. And I know my tiaras pretty well. So that was a big, big surprise. So there may be more surprises in the vault. And I can't wait for that. I'm really hoping for that. Ruth, hi from Nigeria. Hello from Kensington. Mean game of Scrabble means she gets furious and about losing and throws the board on the floor. That's from Princess Dunbar. And I would not be surprised about that in the slightest. No. That interview was a failed PR brand. Yes, I would agree with that. She's trying to portray herself now as a nerd and that she's super smart and everything. And honestly, if she was smarter, she would have played her cards so much better when it came to the monarchy. So much better. Like, I can't even tell you how much better she could have played everything and come out on top with a lot of power, a lot of influence, but she did everything absolutely wrong. And she's not really a good, and she's like, I had to do, my major was in international, relations. I was like, well, you really stunk as a diplomat for the United States and the UK. So, quality education there from Northwestern. But I feel like, again, she exaggerates kind of everything. So I think there is a lot of confusion about whether or not those were her actual majors. I'd love if somebody could actually get something from Northwestern going, yeah, this was, and it doesn't look like, based on the picture I saw, that I'm not sure was from her college or high school graduation, but if it was from her college one, it didn't look like she had any honors. So I don't think, I shouldn't say, but it doesn't look like maybe she did particularly well or that she graduated, at the top of her class or anything, but she's never claimed that. So hi, Dorothy Sapphire from the Philippines. JR Ewing, you should have a social life don't burn out and ask better up for help. Yeah, I definitely don't want to burn out, but yeah, not really all that interested in asking better up for help. But I guess that's what they're there for. Lady Jane, good morning from Boston. I wish Paris would come out swinging at the subtle slights Meghan did on her. Yeah, I feel bad for Paris. That was a bad interview. Honestly, if you listen to it, Paris is not the best. Like, she's very flat. She has a very flat affectation. So it's just, I don't think was the best interview. And Meghan just kept harping on. So do you still do the Barbie thing? Are you still a bimbo? Do people still think of you as a bimbo? Do you do the act? Like, she kept harping on it. And I think partly because she can't, because if she can't bring the conversation around to race, I feel like Meghan is a bit lost because that's what she really wants to talk about. So if she can't do that, she kind of gets confused and lost. Hi, Hi from New York. Can't believe she made it. Ella, people are discussing the Bimbo stuff more than the Variety article. Yes, I was surprised. So I went with the Variety article instead of the Bimbo thing. And I'm kind of glad I did because this Bimbo thing keeps kind of growing. But I was expecting my Variety article to do, or my video to do really well, and it didn't do as well as I thought it would do. And so I'm like, oh, because I did feel like the Variety kind of pushed the Bimbo thing out of the spotlight. But it's the Bimbo thing has legs, hence releasing the thing that she did from whatchamacallit. What am I thinking now? Releasing that new picture of her and Harry. That seems to be their damage control. Oops, things are going bad. Well, here's a new picture of us. Aren't we in love? And again, I feel like they're selling their love story, or Meghan's belief in the power, quote unquote, of Harry and Meghan's love story, I think is become like she's more in love with the idea of that and then actually Harry. I feel like that's kind of the direction where things are going. It was just very much, she's just very, very focused in on that. So, um, T. Rollins said, Meghan claims she didn't want to be objectified on Deal or No Deal yet. Her next role in Hollywood was her going down on a guy in 90210. She definitely read, yeah. Yeah, so Meghan didn't want to be objectified, but immediately did sex scenes. And it's like her scenes in Suits, I feel like is really explicit. I remember watching that going, dang, I know somebody was trying to tell me it's family friendly programming. And I'm like, I was watching that. I was like, no, it's not. Why would you sit down and let your 8-year-old watch that? I mean, I can see an 8-year-old watching Psych, which was also on the USA Network, which is, I'm sure, far better to a certain extent. But Psych is very kind of fun and cheeky and can appeal, I think, to people of a lot of different ages. Whereas that show and that scene was like, it went on for a while. There was no nudity, but it cut close to the line, very, very, very big. So okay, so I'm sorry, I'm looking at my moderator put a couple of comments over here in the private chat. So I'm looking, and she my sister says she's not sure if this was a question or can't find the original message. And it says, hi, Brittany, this is Laura from Prague. I asked about the interview in the cut. So, yeah, so the cut interview, I feel like was real Meghan. And when real Meghan was in her face, she was like, oh, this is terrible. Especially the Nelson Mandela thing got people all upset. Like she just kind of, I feel like kind of was like, oh my gosh, people like it came across so much worse than she thought it would. And so I think she was in damage control. Obviously, there's been rumors that maybe that author who wrote the piece has been fired. I can't confirm that or not. She says she still works for New York Magazine on her Twitter feed. Of course, that could be kind of, she's looking for work and she just leaves it there. I could totally understand if she represents herself as from a different publishing house, then maybe I could see the change. But, I think I would guess and that this woman was just spent time with Meghan and was just not impressed. And so it was a very subtle kind of hit piece on Meghan. And I think people who are smart and, or just kind of have kind of a BS meter of some sort are going, I'm just not totally buying this, especially if I feel like Meghan is so contrived at this point that especially when she's really trying to push things, that she pushes things too much. So I feel like the cut was kind of real Meghan and just showed kind of how narcissistic and delusional she's starting to be to a certain extent. So I feel like that's just kind of one of those interesting things. Deborah Ricketts asked, do you think the royal family will be forced to take them back with the new branding? No, I don't think so. They won't be able to take them back. But what I do think is that, especially with the Variety interview when Meghan's like, asked, hey, are you okay with your kids going into the industry? And she was like, well, sure, if they want to. And I'm like, okay, that's clear sign number one, just pull the titles. They don't need them. They don't need them. If they're going to be in Hollywood, they do not need them. And I feel like that's where they'll end up. That's definitely where they'll end up. Unless one of them is like a total rebel going, I want to get as far from, my family to a certain extent as possible. I want to know the royal family that I was denied the opportunity to know. Then maybe that might change. But I imagine that most people will be like, yeah, no. Okay, I'm going to take a sip. So yes, if you're joining me, I have hot cocoa mornings, especially when it's cold. So if you guys have hot cocoa or tea or coffee, you can take a sip as well, because this is just kind of fun. Carmen with with an asked question: how do we find out if Meghan quit or got fired from Deal or No Deal? I'm not sure if there's a way probably to do that, and I don't have access to people, or people haven't reached out to me, because I'm hoping at some point people just reach out to me and give me scoops on things. That would be awesome. And I haven't heard anything of the sort. And we may hear, we may not. And I get, especially if it's a firing situation, an HR situation, they may not say. It may be part of their kind of non-disclosure agreement or something, that they don't say kind of what happened. So that could be a question. And so it could be actually a legal thing that they can't do. Doris asked, do you think there will be a Dunbarton tiara? No, I would guess Meghan will never wear a tiara again. That would be my guess. She may. Well, I don't see her wearing one at the coronation based on Charles's streamlined approach. I imagine it'll be Catherine and William who wear something, and Camilla and him wear something, and perhaps the Wales's kids do wear something, but I don't think Harry and Meghan will, especially because now they're not even working members of the family. So I would imagine the only people wearing tiaras will be working members of the royal family, and that to me makes sense. I would love to see, and the reigning monarchs of Europe. That's what I would like to see, is those who are kind of reigning kings and queens who come, or other members of the family, like the crown prince or princess or something, depending on the health of the monarch. If they come, I would love to see them in big jewelry, but I don't see the point of having Harry and Meghan do that. But it would be funny to have a Dunbar that just says, like, dumb in the beginning. That would be kind of funny. Cookie Toots asks, with more mainstream media calling her out, is it finally her downfall? Surely she can't continue with this exposure much longer. I think it is. I think a lot of people are starting to turn on her. And I think, again, she's kind of desperate to get that connection to the public back that she craves. And I think things aren't going well. And I don't think things are going well business-wise. Obviously, we even heard in the interview that Netflix thing isn't going well. I don't think a ton is going well for them, really. They have nothing in common, outside of each other and their children. So I feel like when it comes to Harry and Meghan, they just... I think she is starting to fall, because although there are people in the media, because I was watching the guy who did the variety interview, it's like, oh, she faced such racism. And the guy on TMZ was like, oh, she faced such racism. I was like, no, she did not. Because the American media remains ignorant on the intricacies and the kind of the complicated life of a royal, which is not easy, which Meghan totally was disingenuous about and didn't understand in the slightest, and portrays in a very negative light because she didn't get it and she couldn't be queen, which she never could because she's sixth in line. That's how it works. Or now she's fifth in line. She's married to the fifth in line. But, all monarchies work like this. If you are lower down the totem pole, you don't get the same things that the people above you do. That's generally how it works. Now, you could say there's an exception now for Anne and Edward and Sophie, but they are the only other working members now. But I don't think there will be, I don't think she can last much longer, really. I think the tide is starting to turn. I think at this point now, you could say it was 50-50 for a while, but I think it's starting to turn more now, 60-30, 60-40 and 70-30 in terms of people who don't like her. Like, the majority are not liking her anymore. And it's becoming more and more difficult for even people in Hollywood to go, oh yeah, she's so great. And then she comes out and she basically bashes every woman who was on Deal or No Deal as a bimbo. And when I was thinking of the bimbo thing a bit, what I thought was, a woman at a business, I don't know. It's kind of hard, because I almost feel like, you weren't really treated as a bimbo because you knew exactly what that was. That job was to be a model. That was your job. But I feel like too, when I was watching her, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, if you were in a regular business environment and you were only there to be eye candy for the business people, and you were told it was a real job and you're just eye candy, I could see that, you feeling like a bimbo that way. But it's like, but you were told you were opening briefcases. That's your job. So I don't understand. quite get it. So I think she is starting to lose a lot of support from people. And every time she talks, it gets worse. It gets worse almost every time she talks about something. So if I was her PR manager, I would tell her to be quiet and go hide somewhere for a while and then maybe make a comeback. But she really actually needs something to be good at. Like the podcast is not doing well. It didn't even break her latest episode, at least as far as I saw after the first 2 days, didn't even break the top 20. I don't know where it is now. Her podcast in general went down. It's doing better than Kim Kardashian's as far as I could tell. But I still don't think people are all that interested in it. And they mostly kind of listen to it. And I'm sure Spotify was hoping it would do much better. It's generating a lot of press. But again, I feel like Harry and Meghan create a lot of press, but is it actually turning into cash for people like Netflix, like Spotify, like any other business they've attached to? Is all this kerfluffle and this fervor actually translating into business dollars? Because that's at the end of the day what really matters. If you're just a publicity machine and nobody is buying what you're selling and you're watching what you're producing, then that's a problem, because that means you maybe have a big media footprint, but nobody's reacting to any of it. Nikki Millennium says, have you heard the rumor that Catherine and William are going to have baby number 4? I've started this rumor because I would love to see her. I would love to see them have baby number 4. I just don't think that's in it. William didn't seem too keen on it. I think Catherine would love to. But I also think that with this change in their life, I think that would be an added stress they don't need. But I could also see them maybe going, you know what? We do want to live out the legacy of the queen. Maybe we'll try for another girl and we can name her Elizabeth. I can maybe see that happening, but I also don't think. AD Darlin asks, have you seen the clip of Meghan in her car scene? Yes, I definitely have seen it. So I'm going to go back over here to the main thread for a bit. JAT says, hello, Brittany from London. Love your channel and also the fashion channel. Why, thank you. I'm really enjoying the fashion one. It is so, so fun. And I'm excited to do more. And I really hope we can do that for sure. And Sandra, thank you so much for the tip. Meghan is a narcissist. Lying is one of the major symptoms of narcissism. Paris Hilton has created a huge company. She has a perfume line, a record company, TV shows, and a successful DJ. Nutmeg is a poor comparison to Paris. Yes, she is. I really do think Meghan, as far as I can tell, has no talent except for talking about herself. That's her talent. And I think you can use narcissism as something that's kind of good, but it's just becoming more and more evident that Meghan just has nothing to offer, because all she just does is talk and talk and talk and talk. And that's just like, you actually need to do something. They're doing all these interviews, but they have one podcast with 5 episodes. That's it. And I know that, she needs to do more. Like, I know that more is coming out, but at the same time, it's like, it took them a long time to even get there. It took them a long time to get there. So, and then also Neffy12, thank you so much for the tip too. And Carmen with an E, I believe. Yes, thank you so much for the tip as well. The super sticker, I really appreciate it. These are so fun, guys. Really, they are. And I just love being able to chat with you and just kind of creating this little community. I feel like it's just so amazingly fun. And I'm so bummed I don't have my little co-pilot or my co-host here today. But hopefully when she's all done, she'll be very pretty for next week. And I do have Halloween costumes for her. So maybe next week, because I think that'll be, is it the week? I think next week's the week before Halloween. Gotta think about it. And I will have her in her little costume that I got her. I actually got her 2 this year because I just thought that was fun. Yeah, Edie asked, have you seen the clip of her in the car scene? Yes. JAT, don't you think it's weird that Migraine mentioned bolognese sauce and Scrabble, and William has mentioned that in the past? I didn't catch on to that, but that is entirely true. It's like she has a certain script in her head about things that she thinks people are interested in hearing about her. And again, it's like, I just don't even know who the real Meghan is. Who is the real Meghan Markle? I have no idea. But I think she was incredibly jealous of somebody like Paris Hilton. I mean, I think she's a stunning narcissist, but yet she's also incredibly, insanely insecure at the same time. So that's why she makes up, bizarre things and says kind of things that I'm like, really? Because she's just so focused on trying to portray herself as better than she is, because she just doesn't not have that inner strength to go, okay, these are what things I'm good at. Let me translate these into businesses. Because that's kind of what I did on here. It's like I have an interest in royals. I have this really weird memory for like fashion and historical figures, and you know, just remembering the different aspects of different royal households and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe this might turn into a career. So you know, you just have to do something like that. As far, I don't even know, besides spending an obscene amount of money on clothes and being obsessed with herself, I know nothing about Meghan's true interests, really. She just wants expensive things. And Dior. She always wants Dior. I mean, I don't blame her. Dior is very pretty. I love that it's more ladylike, because the Chanel tweed stuff, I see some things that Charlotte Casaraghi wears, and I'm just like, Chanel is very much mostly missed for me. Occasionally I'm like, oh, that is pretty, but not that much. Kristen Hayden says, when do you think the tape of her heinous plane comment will be released? You know, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure something like that exists. But I would not be surprised if she's like, her staff members started recording her. That's what I would do. Is if at a certain point I wasn't sure what was, kind of going on, or wanted to protect myself, I would start recording, just as something to use as a leverage against, perhaps the royal family, or their HR team, to get out of that situation I was in. So I don't know necessarily if they do have that, but I wouldn't be surprised again if somebody has recordings of her, especially being kind of exhibiting bullying behavior. If I was her staff member, every time I walk into her office, I would have my voice memo app on and I'd be recording, just to protect myself. Because that's part of it too, is you have to think as an employee, it's in your boss is psycho crazy. It's like they could say things and throw you completely under the bus to your superiors, and you could get let go. And this is a very prestigious job. You don't want to be fired. And because that could really get around the industry, and you left this high ranking role, and people are going to want to know why. So you have to kind of protect yourself. So it'll be interesting to see if somebody does have a recording like that. But again, I'm not getting my hopes up too much. Crystal asked, I saw another that said Meghan Markle may have threatened William and family when plane crash away. Have you seen this? I have seen that, but again, like I said, I'm just not entirely sure about that yet. If somebody has, I've heard that she made the comment. I'm just not sure until I see something, or because I've seen it more in kind of the recesses. I'd like to see something from like the Times, the Telegraph, even the Daily Mail. I'd be worried without, kind of major publications covering it. It always makes me curious, or a little nervous, because I think that originally came from maybe a blind item, which could be right. And not saying that it couldn't be, but also I take those things somewhat with a grain of salt. Asma asked, did she graduate from Northwestern? Is that stuff public record? I'm not sure. She said it. Nobody from Northwestern has disputed this, and nobody from her class has. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just so hard to tell. I don't think you could ask as a public for somebody's records, except for after a certain period of time, I would guess, due to privacy concerns. Frida asks, has any guests promoted themselves being on Archetypes? I have seen that. Paris did post that she was on I keep wanting to say Archetypes. So, which I still think is a dumb name for, but Meghan's not good at branding. She's really not that good at that. Or coming up with names. Archwell, I think, is terrible. The TIG was terrible, because what does the TIG mean? Like that. It's so kind of strange. That's why I wanted to go with Royal News Network, because I thought that was like easy, simple, kind of like CNN, cable news network. It's something that I thought could catch on. Julie Blackman asked, did anyone else notice she didn't have on her wedding rings on the news photos? Why? I did not notice that, but that is interesting. Again, I just don't feel like they have anything in common besides their kids and their marriage. I just don't think, what do they I don't think they have anything in common. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I'm not totally. I just don't I just have never seen their marriage lasting, especially because at this point too, I think his resentment will begin to grow against her quite a bit, especially because he's lost that time with his grandfather and his grandmother. He was in the country and could have seen her like the day before she died, and he didn't. And I don't know why that is, but I would imagine Meghan is a piece of it. I would say Meghan is a piece too of why he was delayed. I have no proof of that, but that would just be my feeling. And it's just one of those things where it's like, if I was Harry, like I would start to resent her. Maybe it won't hit him now, but it will hit him at some point. Then he'll be really, I mean, I can see their relationship crumbling pretty quickly after that. Lady Jane asks, how did Meghan Markle not know about her job at Deal or No Deal? She says the brain and the nerd, how does that thing not know anything? And she's the smart one, yet she's an adult. Yeah, it's kind of like that thing too, where she didn't understand, like the national anthem of the UK was so hard. It was so hard for her. Nobody taught her that. And it's like, it's my country, 'tis of thee, with the same lyrics. So it's not that hard. And I'm sure most of the palace thought, as a grown adult, you could Google that. You could Google that pretty easily. So I feel like, again, it's her way to portray herself as a victim. And again, she knew exactly what Deal or No Deal was. It's not like it's hiding anything. It's not hiding anything. It's like Deal or No Deal. It's obvious. And again, it's like I said, it's like going to a Playboy shoot and expecting to keep your clothes on. It's like that's not the deal we made. Like that's, you know exactly what this is. So, oh, Belle, thank you so much for the tip. Hey, finally caught it live. You look so pretty in pink. Oh, thank you. Much love from Wales. Love the new fashion channel. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, the fashion channel has done so much better than I thought it would. I was just so like thrilled and surprised and like, oh my goodness. It's just, I'm just so thankful, guys. So thank you for all of you who have subscribed. It's been so fun. And I just absolutely love it. It's because I feel like too, it's a nice little break because every once in a while it's like, everybody's like, the Meghan stuff does get a bit too much. So if you ever need like a palette cleanse, there's one video on there that is kind of Meghan focused, but that's because I actually filmed that video, I think in August. And then I was like, oh, this would be great for the fashion channel. So I kind of kept holding on to it. And so I will be doing, kind of a lot of top 10 lists and, tiara videos and everything. And I'm really excited because I think it's so fun. Like somebody said, it's like if they could have something where you like rented a tiara and you got to place it on your head for like 10 minutes and got to take a bunch of pictures. And I would pay a pretty penny to do that. Like a real one, a nice one, not just like kind of the rinky-dink ones, but a really nice one. So Sandra Stevens, thank you so much for the tip. Narcissists are extremely insecure. That's why they talk about themselves. That's why they mimic people, because they're empty inside. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to deny that Meghan's not a narcissist because she just does fit that so well. Because I feel like she's always trying to fake something. And it's kind of funny because I was thinking that the advice, like when I was graduating high school and I was in the band, and they asked me for like a piece of advice or something. And I was, what I said was like, be yourself. Don't be anybody else. That was my piece of advice. And that would be my piece of advice to a Meghan. It's like, be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Find out who yourself is. And I think that requires an extreme amount of therapy and self-reflection, which is really, really hard for a narcissist. She probably can't do it, but it is, I think sad. And I think a great reminder, it's like, if you're authentic to yourself, people will begin to like you. But I feel like Meghan has created this conundrum around herself where nobody knows what the truth is. And so the conspiracy theories just grow and grow and grow and grow because nobody knows what she's actually doing and what the actual truth is. And so they put in their own theories, and then those things kind of metastasize. And so it's just one of those things where it's it's bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's just, yeah. So it's like, if she could, it's kind of like the whole conspiracy with Archie's birth and like the telling everybody she's in labor when she gave birth like hours ago. It's just like one of those things where you could tell she was trying to manipulate and control the media. And it just makes everybody think, of surrogacy and everything. And again, I feel like she did. I have maintained, I always do think she gave birth to her kids, but I think she also created an unnecessary amount of controversy around them in an effort to, I don't know, what she was trying to do, but it just totally backfired on her. Daisy May asks, when is King Charles removing the Sussex title? I'm not sure, but I feel like he should do that soon. especially no titles. Archie and Lily, especially if they're going to become Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, they don't need, and doing a movie is like, they don't need that. Especially if, what if we have, a 50 Shades of Grey style movie in a couple years, and that's what Lilibet's in, or that's what Archie's in, or something. I feel like it cheapens the monarchy's brand, and they just don't need something like that there. Because it's like, if they were going to be, because I feel like too, for Meghan, it's like, if she was like Grace Kelly and a very respected actress, I mean, I'd be like, okay, she wants to go back and she's good at it. She won awards, like, more power to her. It's like, Meghan was not good. So why is she doing that? I don't know. Elsie says, hi, Brittany. Thank you for your live. What do you think about all the awards they are receiving? Too many too soon? Is it too early for accolades? Yes, it's too many too soon. It just looks totally like they paid for them. They make no sense. She's like had 5 episodes of a podcast, and Variety's giving her like Woman of the Year award. I can't remember what award they were going to give her. But it's like, but she's done 5 episodes, guys. She hasn't done anything to actually deserve an award yet. But it's clear they're trying to establish Harry and Meghan as these huge movers and shakers. And I feel like their PR team should be paid a very pretty penny if they aren't already for doing all of this for them. But at the end of the day, too, I really do feel like it's starting to fall flat, because everybody's like, why? You haven't done anything. You literally have not done anything except for take private planes to massacre sites. That's what they've done. Okay. So, question, will Spain change its rules on succession? I don't think so. That's a great question, Sean. I don't think Spain will change its rules on succession, but they did change recently, which was really interesting. So they removed some titles that were developed during the Franco era. So Franco was a dictator in Spain, and he took the former king, Juan Carlos, under his wing. Sorry, I thought I was about to say wing twice. But they took the former king and put him under his wing while he was growing up, Juan Carlos. And so once Franco died, actually the country was supposed to the dictator power was supposed to transfer from Franco to Juan Carlos. And Juan Carlos became kind of very famous and very beloved by saying, no, we're going to go back to a democracy system. I'm going to be kind of a king in, I'll have some powers, but that's it. Similar constitutional powers like most monarchs have in Europe. So I don't think, I think that's been wonderful to see. And I think as well, when you're looking at everything, so obviously the next queen will be Princess Leonor. And so she's the Princess of Aurelius. As far as I'm aware, that has not changed. And I don't think there'll be any conflict about that in the line of succession. But there were about 33 titles developed during the Franco era that were basically vacated. And there was 1 or 2 kind of right after Juan Carlos became king. And I think they were kind of holdovers from that era. So all of those have been vacated. So I think that is kind of interesting to see. And Juan Carlos still remains somewhat of a popular guy. Well, actually his wife, Queen Sophia, still remains very, very popular. But he got sunk by a lot of scandals. You don't, during a recession, you don't go to Botswana with your mistress and, she will wildebeest. That's just not a great idea. And people just generally do not like that, especially when they don't have any money. I was watching this chart thing the other day, like the cost of living in Spain has gone up a lot. So that was just not a good idea. RF asks, after the book and Netflix deal, do you think there's anything left for Harry and Meghan? I don't know, because they really need to actually, like, they're just doing a reality TV show. Like Meghan threw out there, is like, I want to do a rom-com. I was like, okay, do you have a script? Do you have like a director? It just felt like this throwaway thing that she was hoping somebody would glom onto and come over to her and help her with that. And I was like, that's fine, but you really actually need to create something. And it can't just be a reality TV show about your own life where you're already throwing the director under the bus, going, you're not happy with how she's telling your love story or your story or whatever. And I think that is problematic for sure. Asma asks, is Meghan woke? Yes, she is. Denise asks, Brittany, what type of behavior is displayed towards children when you're a narcissist? I can't speak that much. I haven't done a lot of research, but my understanding is that narcissists see the children as extensions of themselves. And so I think there'll be a lot of, you know what, I shouldn't say because I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, but I don't think necessarily it's probably the most healthy dynamic because they like, you know, Meghan sees probably Lilibet as a little extension of herself. And so, and Archie too. And so she'll be very focused. She'll be kind of focused on them, but only in the way that they reflect her. So not like she's engaged in particular, not engaged kind of in a normal way, but so she won't know what to do if they're having a tantrum, if they're having, you know, they're not like the perfect child. That's what she wants them to be. And that would be difficult. So, but again, I'm not a psychologist. I cannot say for sure. And I don't want to obviously get myself in trouble for saying something I really shouldn't. But yeah, I don't think definitely I can't imagine it's the healthiest dynamic to a certain extent. Daisy May asks, why would anyone want to interview Meghan? I knew Harry was in trouble when there was no relatives except her mom at her wedding. Yeah, I kind of pegged Meghan pretty quickly because I thought she's, you know, because what always got me was like, oh, she's such a successful actress. And I'm like, she's just on Suits. I haven't even heard of her. And I watch Hollywood pretty closely. I know people and I've never seen them in anything. And I've never heard of this woman. What are you talking about? But again, everything got super inflated. But I think, again, there's people who are fit in the woke progressive mold and they do want to interview somebody like Meghan. And so they're like, and you know, sometimes you are assigned that particular role and you're not allowed to say no. And so, or you're assigned it by the boss and you have to save face too. So Variety has to say she's the best thing since sliced bread, even though every time they post about her, they get a ton of negative comments about it. They've still been forced into this. They may be even getting a kickback for doing it. And so they're like, well, we got to suck it up and do it. So that's kind of, and again, I think there are some people who are generally like Meghan stans, but I think those people are getting a smaller and smaller group, I think. I read where people of Sussex are petitioning to take the titles away. Do you think that can happen? Well, they do need an act of parliament. So unfortunately, that would actually be an act of parliament they would need. They can't just go ahead and say, well, we're stripping them. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. But I could definitely see that being something, because Meghan very much, I was surprised kind of in the Variety interview, she kept talking about the industry. And it's like, it's so totally obvious now, I think, that she had no desire to ever stay within the royal fold. She was going to just get her bit of 15 minutes, do a couple of things, and then she was going to jump ship. I think that's abundantly clear. And now I kind of debated it, but I think it's just super, super clear. So I think that's kind of it gives them more incentive. And I think definitely for the kids, with what she said in the Variety interview, again, not thinking she was, I mean, I don't think her kids will get titles now. If I was Charles and I saw that, I would go no, but that's just me. Anna asks, do you think the podcast has been edited to limit royal mentions and to make her sound nice? I'm sure it probably has. I mean, they're really trying to make her sound nice or likable, but it only goes so far, I think. But yeah, I would imagine they're editing it quite a bit. So Sergeant Fifi asks, how would anyone think that they could get insurance coverage for her to act? Again, I have a family member who must be insured to work. The Actors Guild provides umbrella coverages, but productions, and I'm missing some of the rest of that. But yes, I would agree with that, you know, I feel like because the sentiment now is more, it's not just 50-50, it's more negative than positive. I don't know why you would hire her for a role. It's not like Robert Downey Jr., where he was still a really great actor, even though he was problematic to an extent when he was hired for Iron Man. He didn't get that much for it, the first one, but he was an amazing actor. And the thing is with Meghan is you're taking this huge risk bringing her on and she can't act. So there's just no upside to them. And like, again, if she's a great actress, but a divisive figure, you know, somebody kind of like Johnny Depp, you know, is a bit like that now, although I think the sentiment's more positive than negative. I think you have a chance. But with Meghan, the public perception is so bad that I just don't think how you could hire and really kind of, I just want to work. Are you going to make it to the coronation? This is from E Cruise. Absolutely. I got my hotel room reserved as soon as they let us know the date. And I also have my hotel reserved for the prospective June date, which apparently I do not need now. But I'm still keeping that hotel room because they may do the Trooping of the Color still. And if they are going to do that, I think it would be really great to be there again. And that would be I'm hoping. I haven't heard confirmation yet, so I guess they're probably still working on the details. There's been a lot of upheaval in the UK, so I can see why it's maybe taking a bit longer. But I've been working with Trova Trip to try to get a trip to London together in late May. So if I think that would be super fantastic, and kind of right after that could be the trooping. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just keep my hotel rooms and still go to the trooping and maybe get some more coverage of different things. I'm not sure. So we will see. I've kind of, debated at times, maybe staying for a couple months in Europe sometime this summer, but we will see how it goes. Cause it'd be great to go and cover things kind of live and go to different castles. Cause I do have castle coverage and stuff I need to edit together from like Hampton Court and a bit from Windsor, but you can't film inside. And the castle I saw in Poland and the Tower of London, if I didn't mention that. So the Tower of London too. So Mary Ferris asks, are Harry and Meghan losing money? Are they in panic mode because of money? I think that's part of it. I think they're getting hit with production deadlines for the book. And all of a sudden their dynamic has totally changed. And the monarchy is now in a very powerful position now. And Charles is in a more powerful role, and so is William. And I feel like they're panicking because all of a sudden now a lot of things on the line, especially their kids' titles that they didn't think would be an issue, because they didn't think it through. For some reason, they didn't think the queen would die. Somebody said, and I feel like this is so Meghan. So this just gets me, is that they were going to go on a reconciliation tour next year. I was like, yeah, after you torpedoed all your relationships, then you're going to go on a tour. I'm like, oh, please. Anna C. Stan asks, Stan, was the cut author fired, placed on administrative leave? That is a rumor. I have not seen any confirmation. She still lists New York Magazine and the cut on her Twitter profile. So I'm not sure yet. Oh, Lily, this is an interesting question. What can you say about Harry and Meghan hiring a driver who has a background of domestic abuse and ended up wife committing suicide? Oh, I didn't hear about the suicide part, but yes, they did have one of their bodyguards, or two of their bodyguards, both had, violent backgrounds. And it's like, oh, it's kind of questionable. But, they are paid to do job and stuff. But it's the question of the potential for violence, I think definitely is a big issue. Patricia asks, what do you think about Scobie in the Mike Tyndall comment? I actually did a little video on this for TikTok. What I kind of like about TikTok is that you can do videos and you can put the article behind you as a green screen. And I like the simplicity of that, especially for stories that, aren't too much or I don't have enough time. So the question is, I think it's ridiculous, but of course, Omid always is. I don't know why anybody puts him on television talking about royals, except for that connection he has to Meghan. That's the sole thing he has, because they're totally different situations. Mike was never a working member of the royal family. He had his own profile in the UK before working as a member or marrying Zara. He was a famous rugby player. So it's just kind of this notion is ridiculous. And he just was never paid by the taxpayer. He doesn't have a taxpayer funded home. Like it's like comparing apples and cucumbers or something. They're just on completely different levels. So I feel like it's disingenuous to Scobie. But again, Harry and Meghan, that was her big gripe, is like, we can't do what the other members of the family do. It's like, yeah, because you were paid by the taxpayers. You have taxpayer funded security, a taxpayer funded home. You don't have to really pay rent. And so it's like, there's a huge difference between you and Eugenie and Beatrice. And she just refused to mention that. She thought they were all the same. It's like, no. That's not how this works. But again, it shows her ignorance, or the ignorance she's trying to give to the public. Kristen seems like there's not much thought, or she's pushing her agenda, but isolating all women. Why not speak to everyday women about how women and men are both objectified? I think that would be great. Meghan just wants to talk to rich, famous women that she wants to network with. Those are the people she talks to. She doesn't talk to normal women. She doesn't talk to women outside her political spectrum, outside her beliefs. She does not talk to those kind of women. So I feel like her show and her, what she gives to the show in terms of what she said in the variety interview, that she wants people to think she's curious and funny. It's like, but you're not really curious because you're just wanting to confirm your own bias. That was very evident in the Mariah Carey interview. All she wanted to do was confirm her own bias about the term diva, because she just harped on it again and again and again and again. And it like totally threw her that Mariah was like, I don't care about being called diva. She's like, I'm totally fine with it. And like, you could just feel the Meghan meltdown somewhere, because it's like, that's just not what she wanted from that interview. And it just was not going her way. Snow Lily asked, why is King holding out on Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, you think? I don't know. I wonder if he's trying to wait till after the coronation, if he thinks it's too soon, if he's just, uncomfortable with it. I hope he's not backtracking. I feel like that would be pretty rude, but it's just hard to know. But I hope he does it after the coronation or around the coronation or something like that, because that could have been his opportunity too to announce new titles. He probably won't, because he did that with Catherine and William, but I think that was to secure the line of succession. It's not as urgent with Edward and Sophie. So I think that's why he's doing it. Lynn says, did Meghan discuss she's a plane crash away from being the queen? That I have mentioned that before. I'm waiting to see kind of a big official report on that, which I really haven't seen yet. So I'm just kind of waiting there. So Sandra says clause 8 of, and thank you for, it just disappeared. I just clicked on it and it disappeared. So let's go back. Okay, there we go. Sandra Stevens says clause 8 of foreign emoluments and titles of nobility. If Nutmeg is still an American, she cannot run for office. The Constitution does not allow it. It's against the emoluments clause. I would totally see that this case. And again, I don't see why any American would ever vote for a duchess as queen. That's just silly. And she would be terrible at it. Karin asked, will you go to Boston to see Will and Kate? Yes, I have my hotel rooms reserved. And my flights too. Actually, they weren't too bad. And I actually had to make, I'm actually making 2 trips. So it'll be kind of fun. I almost kind of debated going and seeing what Harry and Meghan get up to in New York, because I feel like that will be easier to get press access to than Kate and William's thing, because that's, I think, going to be very controlled. But I'm not sure yet. But I don't think so, because New York City makes me nervous right now, because it's just, I love New York City, but it just does make me really nervous. Kristen says gives a super sticker. Thank you so much. LAFS, open your own travel agency. That would be cool. I just don't know if I could handle it. That's a lot of stuff. And it's very complicated. So it's nice that somebody else can do most of it for you. And then you can, they have certain tours, and I was able to amend one day because they had another schedule while in London. I was like, I'm not feeling that. Like, if we're in London, Westminster Abbey and Buckingham Palace are on the tour, but I also want to hit Tower of London, Kensington Palace. So we will, and St. Paul's Cathedral, because St. Paul's is pretty close to the Tower of London. So I was like, those are the things I think would be funner, because then you can see the coronation regalia should be there then after the coronation. Carla Thomason's for a super sticker. Thank you so much. You are so kind. Sorry, I'm just going back through and I think I missed one other. Sandra Stevens, yes. Okay, I think I got that one for Sandra. Yes, okay. Sorry, I'm just going through and making sure I didn't miss anything. Denise Looper for Ted, thank you so much for the tip. You were so kind. Can you do a series on the coronation jewels and their history? Yes, I will definitely do that. I would love to have taken a picture of them while I was at the Tower of London, but they don't allow you to take pictures. So if I could, I would try to maybe do kind of a pre-coronation trip to the UK, because I'd like to actually spend more time, because I was kind of rushing trying to get through the Tower of London because my flight had been delayed and I got to London 26, 28 hours after I was supposed to get there. So that was a real big bummer. But I would like to go through and get maybe some pre-footage and stuff for the coronation and kind of look at more of the crown regalia. Again, you're not allowed to take pictures in the vaults. But I would love to share, go over those guys with you, because I do love them. And I actually did a report in high school, I kid you not, on the Cullinan Diamond. Because again, I had this book in the library called The Queen's Jewels. It's red. I bought a copy now, so I have one for myself. And I think that's where I first heard of the Cullinan. And so I was like, well, I'll do a report on the biggest diamond in the world that was ever found. It was 3,106 carats, and I still remember that because I do like jewelry. Jessica Morales, thank you so much for the tip. Do you think Meghan Markle is paying for those magazine interviews? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. She is paying for those. I have no doubt those have been very much lobbied on her behalf by her PR team. I have no doubt that's what the focus of those is. So I just it's just I think so it just makes a lot of sense, but also it's just like because she doesn't deserve any of those, and I feel like all of us can feel that she doesn't really totally deserve them. So it's just kind of frustrating to see her get kind of all these things. But again, they don't feel earned. So I feel like the more she does it, the more irritated people are because they just don't feel earned because, she really hasn't done anything. She has her podcast, but it's like, it's this small little podcast, really. It's just kind of rinky dink. So, and it's just creating a lot of noise, but I don't think creating a lot of impact, if that makes sense. Except for making people like her less, which was not the point of the podcast. Daisy May asks, what do you think of concerns about Charles's hands? People are focused on his hands being swollen. I'm worried and keep him in my prayers. That's very sweet of you. Yes. I think I think they've done a report on it, and apparently it's not too bad, but he is older, and I could see his reign being somewhat short. It could be long. It's just hard to know. So I think it's definitely very much, it's good to keep him in your prayers. I hope he has at least, a good 10-year long reign, if not 20, but it remains to be seen. I think William will probably be king faster and earlier than he wants to be. So I think I think that became very apparent to William after the queen died. He's like, oh, this could happen really quickly. And it could happen suddenly more than you're thinking. Missy Lulu says Althorpe House in Northampton or Blenheim Palace while you're in London. I would love to go there to those too. Yes, they are kind of a little outside, but it's because you have a day, there's only so much time that you have. Like I could do it as part of a pre-trip, but on the tour thing that I've been working on getting together, there's just not enough time, I don't think, because I'd get out to like Windsor or Hampton Court, which aren't too bad, but you can't. It is a bit of a trek to get out there. I mean, it takes a good 30 to 45 minutes to get to Hampton Court, shorter to get to Windsor, but you do have to get on that. It just depends on where you're at in town and how busy things are. But hopefully in May, it'll be a little bit before like the super crush of the busy season. So it'll be a little challenging. Curran, thank you so much. Oh, $10, get yourself a cup of cocoa. Why, thank you. I need to go and order more Whittard's hot cocoa because I'm suffering now with Starbucks, which is still good, but the Whittard's so much better. I bought like 6 canisters and I think I'm almost all out of them. I also came back from my trip to London for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and I was a little sick, so I ended up going through a fair bit of it, but Whittard's is the best. I feel like they should be the sponsor for this, so maybe I don't know how to do that though. It's Joe McLay. Thank you so much for the tip. Enjoy the rest of your weekend with Miss Pippa. Thanks for this. Of course. Yeah, so I'm sorry Miss Pippa is not here, but she would be so excited to see you all. Philomena asked, so we'll just do a little bit more here because I should probably be about ready to pick her up here in a little bit. So Philomena asked, does Meghan get paid for variety in the cut articles? Who pays for the dresses? So she will get, so those are probably lent for the shoot. She probably doesn't get to keep them. If that's worked in because she really likes that stuff, that could be the case. But generally no, actresses and stuff, those things are lent for the shoot and they are brought back to the designer. So they don't generally get to keep them. Same with the dresses they wear for big, red carpets events. Generally those are then sent back to the company. It's rare that they're not, because they're mostly just lent. They're just not like given, although they are fitted to the actress. So I think it probably all depends. Like if she really wants the dress because she won the Oscar or something, I think that could be arranged. But I know I saw Jennifer Lawrence's Oscar dress that she won for Silver Linings Playbook. I saw that at the Dior exhibit. So I have a feeling so, and that would be a big moment. I'm sure she would want that dress. So it may be lent to her, but it may be also actually just owned by Dior. Wendy asked, do you know if and why Netflix has pushed back its documentary series with Meghan and Harry till 2023? Is this Harry and Meghan or Netflix? So we've gotten now a lot of conflicting reports on that. Now it looks like it may be this year, later this year, but whatever has happened with it, Meghan and Harry, or at least Meghan, is not happy because she complained about it in her interview with Variety. Because that's just what you need, is somebody who's the executive producer and creator of this reality TV series trashing it before it even comes out. And the director. That's just what you need. But I think a lot of turmoil, and I think a lot of things that people aren't, Meghan particularly, is not happy about. Hi, Britt. Linda says, do you think that if when they split up, they would tell anyone, or do you think that they would carry on working together for the sake of their children? I wouldn't be surprised if it took a while for it to officially come out. I wouldn't be surprised. And if they're faking it, because I feel like they fake a lot of things now. So what's the difference? Unless Harry's like, I want to go. I'm done. I'm out of here. That's what I think. Asma says, the true Catherine and William are offering an olive branch to Harry and Meghan. I think the olive branch is probably always there, but it's for Harry and not Meghan. That's what I think. Blue Black asks which PR company they have now. Apparently they have their own. They've had their own in-house now, and they're paying Sunshine Sachs for only certain things. But that remains to be seen. Do you think Prince Harry had a crush on Catherine? He may have, but I think he wanted the life William had. I think that was more of where the crush was kind of based. As just looking around says, I also think so. He was desperate and tried being the third wheel, and he picked the first girl he thought was that much like Catherine. I think so. Brittany, can you put together separate videos on this new update plans and the ideas for the tour trips? And then itineraries, I would want to get a good idea involved for us potentially. Yes, I will absolutely. As soon as I get confirmation, I've just kind of been waiting for that and I haven't heard yet, because I would definitely, it would save a bit not to do the plans that they have, but we would probably have to purchase the tickets separately. But we would go and plan and go ahead and purchase the tickets early. And I paid to be a member of the castle thing, so that may give me a discount. I don't know, but I would reach out and figure that out. I've been to London a lot of times, so I know it pretty well, so I can definitely figure it out. And I would let you all know for sure. Because I want to make sure that you know what you're getting into and if you'll like it or not, and everything like that. So Sharon asked, have you noticed that when Harry does not often look at Meghan when they're doing interviews? Yes, I have noticed that. And their recent picture, again, looks super awkward. Super, super awkward. So yeah, and then, yeah, because I just don't ever feel like they're really on the same page. Sammy Lewis asked, what coffee brand were you talking about? So it's actually a hot chocolate brand. It's called Whittard's. So WHITTARD. And they do a ton of hot chocolate variety. So they have peanut butter hot chocolate, which tastes really good. They have Rocky Road, white chocolate. I have a cinnamon, which I haven't tried yet. Caramel. And, they just have a regular one too. They also do teas. They don't really do coffee, which is kind of different, but I love that because for me, I am a hot cocoa girl. So like having hot cocoa is the best. So that is my personal, that's my personal thing. So I am not a super big fan of coffee, but I love this and it's really, really good. So guys, anyways, Catwoman says, love this channel. Oh, thank you. Yes, this has been so fun. It's just so crazy. Is the way this has grown and the way the fashion channel has grown. I'm so grateful. So guys, thank you so much. Elsie asks, what about the crown? This is coming soon. Yes. So November, I need to work on, I want to do kind of a review series of it. I don't know all the details about the Queen's life to really go kind of yes or no, this did or did not happen. But I can say generally going, I'm not so much a fan of this or that. So I'll definitely be looking through that and just seeing if I missed any questions. Because I feel like it did, but maybe not. Maybe I did get through them. All right, guys. Well, I will let y'all get back to your Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening or Saturday, like you may go to bed now. That's so crazy to me that there's people from like all over the world who joined in on this live stream, and this channel is just amazing to me. And I just think it's so fun. It's so fun. And I'm just really excited for this next year. And I'm just, with the coronation and of course, next couple months, Catherine and William going to Boston. I'm super excited about it. And it will be something I think is just amazing. And I'm really excited. So yes, I will be doing watch soon of The Crown and just so much more and more fashion videos. And so guys, let me know, of course, what you're interested in, and we will do that. And I feel like I had something else. I think that was it. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching and for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you again at this time next week. Bye.